We've been through this 1,000 times already, Frank. We all know we got some problems.
Teams can build involvement, cooperation, and communication. When successful, they can reduce response times to changes in the marketplace, generate innovative solutions, and speed the implementation of new policies. But not every group of people develops into a team. Teams require planning, work, and commitment from all team members.
Frank thinks we'll create this team and things will magically fix themselves. I want to turn things around just as much as he does, but it's just not working. We're wasting too much time, it's costing too much money, it's not selling any bikes.
I think Frank just wants to make sure that everyone feels like they're involved.
Frank needs to decide what he wants to do and then get on with it.
Maybe you ought to tell him that.
Frank only hears what he wants to hear.
I'm not so sure about that. You know, Stephanie says her design group did the backtrack lines as a team.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Backtracks are great bicycles.
Yeah, she says the team was great. She wants to start a zero defects team next time.
Well, maybe she knows something we don't. But based on our experience, this whole team idea is a mistake.
Come on, Sam.
Frank just doesn't have his act together, Louisa.
Well, maybe that's why he needs our help.
In this program, you'll learn how to recognize the types of problems and projects for which teams provide the best solutions. You'll learn how to assemble a team that matches your needs. You'll learn about the psychology of team behavior, the stages of development through which most teams must progress. And you'll learn techniques for speeding the development of effective performance. Finally, you'll see that some teams can grow into high-performance teams, teams that have remarkable, even amazing abilities to solve problems and to generate and implement new ideas. In this program, you'll meet two teams. Frank's sales team, of which Sam, Louisa, and Carol are members, and Stephanie's Zero Defects team, which includes Matt, Sarah, and Joseph. Stephanie's a strong leader, and her preparation will help her team make a fast start. Frank is less assertive and less well-organized, and his team struggles until other team members assume leadership roles. Teams can't be effective unless they're given clearly defined business objectives. They need to have problems to solve, but not all business problems are best solved by teams. A team problem requires that individuals with diverse skills work together toward a common outcome. Don't assign a team to a one-person job unless the problem calls for diverse information and talents. Assign the problem to an individual.
Gordon?
Stephanie.
Do you have a few minutes?
Of course. Have a seat.
Thanks. It's about the 12 speeds.
I know.
I haven't been able to isolate what's going wrong.
Well, deraillers.
Yes, but it isn't just derailleurs. Brakes, cables, other things too. And we fix one problem and another one pops up.
Actually, I've been considering withdrawing the whole line.
I've thought about it too, but I'm not sure if starting over would solve anything. I just think we'd see the same things over again.
Well, this may just be an error-prone design.
I understand what you're saying, but I really don't think there's anything wrong with the designs. There's just no reason why these bikes should give us so much trouble. I want to ask you something. How many defects do you think would be reasonable? 1 in 100, 1 in 50, 1 in 1,000, what?
Geez, I don't know, Stephanie. I could easily live with the backtrack numbers, though.
How about 0?
Yeah, right.
Seriously, why couldn't every bike that leaves the floor be perfect? Why isn't that possible?
I don't know, maybe because life's unpredictable.
I don't know either, but if it's okay with you, I'd like to start thinking in terms of 0. And what I'd like to do, if it's okay with you, is put together a team to work on it.
Oh, you're serious? Okay. Why the team approach?
Do you remember? We did the backtrack design as a team thing, and it worked. Look, I've tried to solve these problems alone. We all have, but no one has succeeded. And it isn't just any one problem we can isolate. It's more of a beginning-to-end process. Maybe we need to get people together from every department that touches these bikes.
So, who do you need?
I have some ideas, but some supervisors aren't going to like releasing them. It's going to need your support.
Okay, that's doable.
There's another thing, though. It's going to require more than just your support. You're going to have some confidence in this. You're going to have to let us try some things.
Okay, suppose I let you try some things, which means that if you keep me well informed, I'll try to keep out of the way.
We also need the ability to make some changes.
Wait a minute. We don't even know where you're going. You're going to have to show me something more solid. Okay, I'll read this, and if I like it, I can promise you I'll back you up the best I can. Is that good enough?
Yeah, for a start.
So who do you want on your team?
Joseph in the frame shop. And there's a young woman in assembly. Her name's Sarah. She'd be good. And I was looking for a good salesperson, maybe somebody from an outside store.
Oh, how about Matt from the factory store?
Many companies hope to derive secondary benefits from creating teams. They hope to improve communication, to make better use of employees' talents, and to assure that employees buy off on decisions before they are implemented. Nevertheless, because teams define themselves in action, they must always have specific business problems to solve if they are to be successful. Team members learn about each other by observing how others approach problems and how they react to unexpected circumstances. In response to challenges, they develop complementary, synergistic relationships. Without a clear business purpose, teams develop as hierarchies. Ritual courtesies substitute for teamwork, and the team loses its ability to react directly and efficiently. Instead of a team, you have a bureaucracy. The lesson? Don't assemble a team unless it has a real business purpose that requires diverse skills and talents. Once you're sure that a team approach is correct for your problem, your first task is choosing appropriate team members.
So we decided that a team is the best solution, and I really think you could help.
Consider the knowledge and experience team members can supply. Who has encountered and solved similar problems in the past? You may need people from engineering, manufacturing, service, sales, and maintenance, or people who are knowledgeable about labor contracts, supplier relationships, and government regulation. And if you expect your team to promote employee commitment, always be sure that those who are responsible for implementing decisions are represented on the decision-making team. Choose team members with the necessary skills and resources to perform team tasks correctly and efficiently.
We TIG weld aluminum frames. It's a lot more difficult. We've only got 3 people here qualified to TIG weld. That's one reason why aluminum costs more.
Teams that feel powerless to implement their decisions are rarely effective. One of 2 conditions results. Either the team attempts to tell management what it wants to hear, or team members become apathetic or cynical and offer unrealistic solutions. Remember that power and authority are not identical. Sometimes it won't be possible to have people on your team with the authority to make final decisions. But you must have team members with the type of influence or support that gets things done. Teamwork requires communication and cooperation. Every team needs people who can work well with others. Team members must have both the courage to speak up and the wisdom to listen. And they must be willing to carry their fair shares of the work. You need people with appropriate knowledge, people with business skills, people with the power and influence to assure that decisions are implemented, and people who understand the values of cooperation, compromise, and teamwork. One final point about team membership. Most successful teams are small. Small groups permit fast-paced interaction, brainstorming, and the development of trust and respect. Most successful teams have from 3 to 10 team members. Teams don't develop overnight. Team members need time to learn each other's skills and personalities. Teams typically pass through stages of uncertainty and role definition before they become productive working teams. In the uncertainty stage, team members will be cautious. They may not know why they have been called together. Perhaps they don't know what the problem is, or what their individual roles will be in solving that problem. As it progresses through the uncertainty stage, the team will first need to establish a purpose. Then it will need to set goals and build a working approach. The team leader or facilitator will usually know the general purpose for which the team has been assembled, but team members must adopt or adapt this purpose and make it their own before work can begin. A strong team leader can speed this process, but the responsibility lies with all team members.
We've been through this before, Frank.
I think what we ought to do as a team is figure out exactly what it is we want to accomplish.
I think we know that what we want to do is to increase sales.
Yes, but of bikes or accessories or what?
Everything.
Actually, some of our bicycles have been doing pretty well.
So, should we concentrate on accessories then?
I've been looking at your sales stats, Frank, and it's clear that accessories have higher markups.
But it's bikes that bring the customers in the door.
Yes, that's true, but if we can increase our accessory sales, that would boost both our average sale and our margins.
It could work the other way too. Someone coming in to buy accessories could wind up with a new bike.
I've already explained to each of you why we're here. We want 0 defects beginning with the 12 speeds.
Oh.
Not overnight, folks. Maybe not even soon, but I think we need to change the way we approach these problems. 0 defects is difficult, I know, but I also think it's possible.
What exactly do you mean by 0 defects?
Good question. What do I mean? How about no returns?
For how long?
A year, maybe? Does that seem realistic?
You know, there are situations where a customer will take a hammer to something, wreck it, and then bring it back for warranty service. I'm not sure you can control that.
Okay, we're agreed that sometimes customers are going to be out on a dark road at night and damage a bike in a way that we really can't be responsible for. So, 0 defects means no returns of properly used bikes.
I think that we need to be thinking about ways to make bikes that are more foolproof. You know, we've moved into more general use lines, and I think if we're going to do that successfully, we need to make some adjustments.
A bike has to be maintained like any other piece of equipment. You can't get around it.
Our purpose, then, is to redesign the 12 speeds into a 0 defect product. That means no returns for a year that are our fault, and any recurring problem is by definition our fault, even if it is the result of misuse. Agreed?
Yeah.
Once you've established a purpose that is clear and meaningful to all, your team has a steady compass reading for charting its course. It is now ready to begin setting goals.
The thing I see most of are derailer problems. If we can solve that, everything else will seem easy.
Goals are required to give a purpose practical, immediate meaning. Set both long-term and short-term or interim goals. Your team needs goals to gauge its progress and chart its course. If your team has both a purpose and specific goals, you're on the right track. Next, you must agree upon a unified working approach.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but it seems to me that we should just take a bike and walk it through the process, you know, start to finish and see what happens to it.
Good idea. I, for one, don't know what happens to it once it leaves the design office. What do you think, Joseph?
Yeah, that's okay by me.
Sounds like a plan, then. Maybe we ought to consider for a minute what we'll want to be looking for.
Okay. Well, let's look at the design.
As team members begin the process of defining a working approach, they continue the process of learning about each other. They learn to recognize each other's strengths, and they begin the development of complementary, synergistic working relationships. During this uncertainty stage, the team leader must balance the team's need for a facilitator against its need to develop as an independent work group. The leader's role is to encourage discussion, to read the feelings of team members, to assure that reservations are voiced, and to maintain focus on establishing a purpose, goals, and a working approach. As the team begins implementing its working approach, team members begin the process of role definition. Team members will have been selected based on the skills and knowledge they can provide, but individual interests and relative workloads must also be considered when roles are defined.
You know, I just don't feel we have adequate data to know which direction the market is moving.
I think we know what people want. All we have to do is ask the buyers or go down to the bike trails and take a look around.
It doesn't matter what we do with our lines. It's going to be a long process to build sales unless we can increase our advertising budget.
I don't think it'll do any good to advertise what people don't want. That's why I brought up market research.
Why don't we look into market research? Maybe we ought to put some people out on the trails for a couple of days.
I'd like to survey the other shops. Let's find out what they would tell us to advertise.
You know, we have a couple of retailers who are doing real well. Maybe we ought to find out what they're doing differently.
How about some statistics concerning what's selling right now? Can we get those from?
Yeah, we certainly can.
I wouldn't mind surveying the trails for a couple of days.
I want to know what bikes they're riding and what clothes they're wearing.
During the role definition stage, trust has not yet been established. All team members should be encouraged to state their reservations and objections. The disagreements should not be allowed to escalate into disputes that could result in lingering resentments.
You listening, guys? I've seen these customers. I know how it works. First, they try to fix it. Then after they've already wrecked it, they read the manual.
Well, there's not a piece of equipment made that doesn't need maintenance.
They make cars now that don't require maintenance for 40,000 miles. This is just a bike.
Guys, I think we need to be talking designs here.
Okay, where are we? People expect bikes to be maintenance-free, but it's impossible to make a maintenance-free bike, or at least we don't know how to make one yet. That's where we are. I think the question should be, where do we go from here?
While roles are being defined, some team members may make bids for positions of influence and visibility. Some may attempt to drag unrelated office politics or extraneous company issues into the team discussions. Expect frustrations and conflicts. They're a natural part of team development. Resolve disagreements by refocusing on your purpose and goals. Also be sure to compliment and thank fellow team members who perform tasks quietly and cooperatively. They're essential to the team's success. Teamwork is a process of continuous evaluation and compromise. Your team's goals, both for the long and short term, should be specific, and all team members must take responsibility for regular assessment of progress.
It seems that part of the problem may be in the instructions given to the customers when they take the bikes home. Look at this. This is the third gear I've seen this week that's notched from where they tried to wedge a chain back on.
So, one solution might be to show them how to adjust them properly.
Or build them so they don't need to be adjusted.
Or both.
And since either one alone is impossible, why not do both, huh?
Now, the reason Louisa asked you here, Stephanie, was because we were beginning to move in directions we weren't sure about. We wanted to be certain that design and promotions were on the same track.
Teams mature in different ways, and flexibility is essential. Perhaps team members will decide its goals are unrealistic or too limited, or the team may discover that its purpose has evolved and changed. New members may be needed. Others may drop out, and roles may need to be redefined.
Because we've done some preliminary research and we feel that there's two very distinct markets that we're selling to.
Our conclusion was that we had a lot of little problems and one big problem, which was that we had an identity problem. So before we decided on which way to move with our marketing, we wanted to know which way we were moving on our products.
Certainly, I think our consumer bike lines will be stronger, but I don't think that means giving up on high-performance bikes either.
We build racing bikes, and then we build the bikes that racers buy their kids.
And their parents.
As teams mature, the leader's role typically diminishes. As other team members gain confidence and trust in each other, they take more initiative and need less direction. Teams with strong leaders start faster, but dominant, overpowering leadership may limit the potential of established working teams. When a team starts out with a meaningful purpose and develops specific performance goals and a common working approach, it's likely to succeed. Occasionally, however, a team will exceed all expectations. One successful project seems to lead naturally to the next. Each success increases confidence and skills, and team members eagerly take on increasingly difficult and important projects. Team members develop high-speed channels of communication. They discover they are able to work together with remarkable efficiency, and the team thrives on solving difficult problems.
What exactly was it about the backtrack line that made it work so well? Well, you designed it, Stephanie. What do you think?
Part of it was luck.
Yeah, but part of it wasn't. I mean, you guys designed that thing in what, like 6 weeks? You knew that you didn't have time to design and redesign.
No time to mess it up.
Well, you gave us a bike that we knew how to make.
And one we knew we could sell.
So what we're saying is that we did the thing that we know how to do really well. And at the time, it seemed pretty ordinary. I mean, we didn't think that we were like cutting edge or anything. But the truth is, we know how to make that kind of bike better than anybody else in the world. And that's pretty cutting edge in and of itself.
We also painted unicorns on the women's frames.
Which was incredibly dumb, but that's not the point. Look, I was thinking about this. Why not take some components that we feel absolutely confident with?
So, what's next?
Well, somebody's got to talk to Gordon about changing suppliers. How about you, Joseph?
Or we could all go in there together.
Look, Gordon's okay. We'll get what we need. I mean, he supported us from the beginning. But we're going to have to demonstrate that we can reduce returns enough to compensate for the costs.
Members of these high-performance teams understand their own skills, and they trust and rely upon the skills of other team members. They often become intensely dedicated to the team purpose, and they develop close relationships with fellow team members. Certain conditions seem to promote the development of high-performance teams. If a team is to develop extraordinary abilities, it must be given extraordinary challenges, and it must include members with extraordinary talents. It must also be given or acquire the authority to set its own goals, choose its own methods, and implement its decisions. Members of high-performance teams know that their relationships with other team members are special. They're trusting and intuitive, almost telepathic at times. They're able to be honest with each other, blunt when necessary, and they're able to take risks because they know they will be supported by other team members, even when they make mistakes. Interestingly, while team members often become fiercely loyal to each other, they rarely focus on relationships. Members of high-performance teams are goal-driven, just as every team must define a meaningful purpose to be effective. High-performance teams must define extraordinary challenges. Team members build their unique, synergistic relationships and their remarkably intuitive channels of communication in the process of overcoming these challenges.
Oh, Joseph talked to me about developing new sources. You were right again. I'd gotten kind of locked into things.
It was the team's idea, really.
Things are going well otherwise.
Very well.
Team thing worked. Defects on the 12 speeds are way down.
They'll get better yet, too. I think all our bikes can.
So what's next?
I don't know. Why not let them tell us?
I like that idea.
Be certain that your problem calls for diverse talents before assembling your team. Then choose team members who can supply all the information, skills, and power you need to accomplish your goals, and who have both the courage to speak up and the wisdom to listen. Let your team define its purpose, goals, and a working approach. Use your purpose to provide a true compass reading. Then let your team find its own path. Those are the elements of a successful team. You shouldn't expect every team to develop into a high-performance team. That's unrealistic, and teams need not become high-performance teams to be effective. But give a team of talented people a clear purpose, extraordinary challenges, and the power and freedom to find solutions, and they'll have the potential to transform companies.